Alright then, welcome to OxGames, a sophisticated look at certain indie games. But I'm going to start off with this one, Blueberry Garden, because, well, it's received quite a lot of praise over the, past 2 years since it last came out. I'm sorry, I only got this recently, because of course I heard all the hype, and I was wondering, well, it has an interesting title and an interesting look to it. I mean, I'd seen some of the screenshots and it seemed, intriguing, shall we say? I think we can say that. Well, I played it for a couple of hours, which, believe me, is all you'll need, because it's quite short, but that's not the point. That's not the point. It's meant to be, you know, to do with the look of the game, as it were. It's a style thing, and indie games these days seem to be going for style, in a way. I believe one reviewer said, yes, it was Zero Punctuation, who said that you only need to make a game about a small boy trying to find himself in a dark world. Some sort of allegory for child growth, and immediately you have yourself hundreds of awards. So, let's have a look at this one. Like I said, I've already played it for a couple of hours, so what I'm mainly going to be voicing is concerns. Now, I'm not going to start faulting this game on its look, particularly. Give me a second, I might do. What it's got going is this very nice, obviously very simple, sort of child drawing kind of thing, house with 2 windows, a door, and a chimney with smoke spiraling out, that kind of look. And you know, it's nice. You know, a lot of indie games are going for this kind of look. They're going for the very minimalist kind of thing. Few bright primary colours. And you know what? I like it, and I got very used to it over the time. We've also got some nice music. Well, we will have nice music eventually. It's got some very nice piano tunes, and they're all very relaxing, and again, it all adds up to the idea that this game is nice. Which is kind of my problem with it. I quite like it. Insofar as it's a fairly competent platformer with its own mechanics, which I shall show you in a minute, should I ever actually manage to concentrate long enough to do the bloody game. So, let's fly up here. Yes, you can fly as well. Well, it's kind of flying, it's gliding. It's many things to many people. But the idea is to collect these large objects, which then warp you back to your home. And there you go. So now we have a large lump of cheese on top of a platform. And you keep on building up these objects to try and build your platform as high as you can go. And you may have seen the tap earlier on. You see this water level? Well, that's going to be rising rather quickly, and the fact that I've been sort of messing around for the past, call it a minute so far, it means I'm kind of behind on my large tower quota. Now, of course, that's not the only thing that you can do, obviously. This is called Blueberry Garden, so in theory, you should be able to find some blueberries somewhere. There we go. So, hold the fruit, if we can actually, there we go. Hold fruit, eat fruit, and it gives you a particular ability. This one, I believe, makes you a fair bit lighter, allowing you to get to higher platforms, and look, I found myself a pencil. The problem is, it doesn't get any more complicated than this. Now, for some people, that's fine. You know, some people treat these kind of things as works of art, and they believe that the style carries it, and it's also got an interesting sort of ecosystem system. I can't think of any other way to put it, but that's what it is. You see these fruit, well, they don't just give you particular effects, they also are eaten by the resident wildlife, which in turn breed, and this in a way is supposed to create your own ecosystem. If you do carry fruit with you, then you can plant it at the foot of your tower and it'll grow there, and you know, you'll literally be able to garden. It is called Blueberry Garden, and that's what you can do. But apart from that, it's not got a huge amount going for it. Now, this being an indie platformer, I'll immediately compare it to things like, say, Limbo and Braid. If it's more in the Flash scene, there are a couple of games like Coma, that's on Newgrounds at the moment, it's very good. Same style, it's one of these 2D platformers that relies on its sort of cartoonish surreal fantasy looks. I've just strung a lot of meaningless words together there, but hopefully they make sense to someone. And the point is that they're simple, but they're not as simple as this. If you have played Braid, you'll also know that this game has some mind-bending puzzles as well, so I'll just plant a blueberry down here to see if I can actually grow one there. That'll be handy for later puzzles. Ah, there you go, you see? Tree sprouting! Ta-da! I'm literally green-fingered. If I had fingers. Yeah, doesn't appear I have fingers, but if I did, they would be green. What was I talking about? Oh yes, indeed. Braid has its fair share of mind-bending puzzles. Limbo has the ridiculous deaths that seem to happen every couple of minutes. Even Coma, despite being a free Flash game, has it. God damn it! Has its moments, its puzzling moments. Now this, it's very, very simple. It's very pared down, and it is a one-man team. I will appreciate the fact that you can only do so much. But I'd just like a little more, that's all. I mean, I can completely appreciate the art style, and I think it's a very nice art style, as I have seemed to keep repeating. But it's not enough. You can't carry a game purely on what it looks like, much as... I mean, that's what big game developers do. They say, look at us, look how graphically incredible we are. And people go, well, yeah, but is there a good game in there as well? And the thing is, indie developers aren't obviously going for graphical superiority, they're going for graphical style, which is infinitely better in my opinion. You know, it's very much like contemporary art movements. You're not purely going these days for just making things as lifelike as possible. You are in fact also trying to do something like this is like the impressionist painting to the sort of Renaissance style. If you will, if that's not too pretentious. Hey, this is OxGames, we're here to be pretentious. But like I say, as much as there is nice music and nice artwork, I just feel there could be more. And that's a problem, you see, because if there was more, I feel this would be worth the very, very cheap price. I mean, I won't lie, this was incredibly cheap. I think I picked it up for £3 over here in the UK. But it doesn't feel worth it. Even that low price, it doesn't feel worth it. And that's a real problem, because it's an indie game, obviously. And if you want to make more indie games, then you need the money. Now, I know this came out a while ago, and I believe the developer has probably been working on something else in the intervening time. I'm not sure what. I will probably look at there at some other time and see what he's got going on at the moment. But I hope he's going to develop things like this idea. I mean, I like the ecosystem idea. I think it's a very interesting principle that you can put living worlds in games and that they grow on their own without the interference of the player. You know, it adds a lot of immersion into the game. Salt chicken, then go on my tower. But unless it's and of course I like the art style, I like the sound. There's a lot to this game to like. But, as I have already said, many, many times now, you're probably quite bored of me saying it. It needs a little bit more. And hopefully, indie games in the future will be able to add that little bit more. I'm not asking, you know, put everything in, put more guns in, put more realistic, put iron sights in, but iron sights in this game would be particularly interesting to see how that would result, but never mind. But yeah, I hope he goes on to do great things. I just don't think this is worth the price tag. Or the hype. This is another thing that I found interesting. We call this a bit of a non sequitur. This game was very much posed as, it's genius, it's brilliant, it's the new wave of indie games. The fact is, I think that's a little bit of a disservice to, well, indie games in general. Because there has been a lot of good work. Even a lot of good art, a lot of good gameplay. Trine was an independent game, and that's incredible. So to say that this is the cutting edge, that this is unique, that this is an art style which no one could possibly copy, although I'm not sure people are saying that particularly. But I think it does do a little bit of disservice to other indie games. We shall see. A lot of people say that this is going to be a game that you either love or that you hate. So possibly I'm down in closer towards the hate category. Again, shame, because I would really like to like this. But if you're looking at it for judgment of whether it's a good game, it's very meh. We'll go with meh. That shall be my rating for today. Blueberry Garden. A lovely looking game, but meh.